So, theoretically, he's had a couple of weeks, Ruben Amorim, but in practice, he's probably had a couple of days with all the players available to him. We need to talk about the system. We need to get that out of the way because there's no... I believe he likes a flying wing-back. I don't know. Look, we know that that's how he wants it. We know this 3-4-3 is what he wants to do, and that's how he's going to start, and that's how he's going to carry on. And actually, it's where the first goal came from. And it may not have been the cleanest of contacts from Ahmad to kind of get the ball in, but it worked, and it ended up in a goal. Yeah, so it was working. But when you look at that Manchester United game, that Manchester United performance, can you see the size of the task maybe that Amorim has in front of him?
Yeah, and to be honest, the way they started, how it looked, and even without the ball, it looked more structured. It didn't look as easy to get through them. The wing back, obviously Ahmad scoring the goal like he did, just kind of cemented that is what he probably wants. But it did feel a little bit more in control. But again, it still came down to Onana making 2 saves. Otherwise, it could have been totally different. And the headlines this morning could have been different for him. But what I like about what he says is how it's not results that's going to change. It's the performances at the moment. And you've got to be patient, Man United fans, simply because we can see that with the performances and the players, what he's going to probably get, this will work for him. It will work. And it's the performances what's important. Not because he said something like, you can get the same results next year, but if we've not improved what we're doing, then what we're going to be in the same place. And it's brilliant.
Can I ask you a question? Bruce Rioch, you played under him. Arsene Wenger comes in after. How does Arsene Wenger lift the morale of a disillusioned group of players? Because it seems to me that's what he's got to do, give them confidence and give them belief again.
Well, with Arsene Wenger, the sessions and everything that came with him, the way it was so transformative, it was exciting. The training was more exciting. It wasn't so... It was more controlled and more speaking about things and why you've got to do this. And it kind of opened your mind up to different things and how he wanted you to play it. And he was so complimentary about everything that everybody felt so good. Everybody felt so good with what we were doing, and we knew we were taking the right supplements and that. And then as time was going by, you could see it was just coming. Remember, Patrick came in and then Manny came in. It just kept getting better. Dennis had great players to play with, and it just got better. And that is what I feel was going to happen. You saw it yesterday in the way that they set up and how solid it looked. But Ipswich are an unbelievably good pressing team at Portman Road, especially if you've got your goalkeeper that deep playing out from the back. You're almost calling them on to put the pressure on. I thought Man United should have done that and the goalkeeper should have came out to start playing it.
But you talking about the players you've had at Arsenal, right? And this is my biggest thing. I love Ruben. You talk about Man United, beloved Man United fan, but I think he's got this aura about him that I think Manchester United under Eric Ten Hag, no one knew the philosophy, the structure after 3 years. And I think what we're seeing, he's not going to take any prisoners from no one. After the game, he's talking about, I just want to be with my players. And I think the problem is he has this system. He's not revolutionising football, 3-4-3. Other teams do it. But
it's all we've had to talk about.
No, that's fine. It's true. Similar to Ralph Rangnick, 4-1, like, what, But the point is, what I love about Ruben Amorim...
I wish I'd never mentioned it.
He did, because he's not doing it. He's not doing anything revolutionary. But what I'm seeing, he has... Ahmad playing out full-back. Like, it's not something Man United fans thought was going to happen. But I think... we won't see Casemiro and Eriksen in the midfield after Christmas. We won't see that. Obviously, Cobby's nursing an injury. He'll have different types of players come in that fit his system because those players, honestly, are nowhere near the levels of Manchester United Football Club, and about 70% of them haven't been for a long time. I think Ruben Amorim will demand from the players high demands, and I think that's been missing from Manchester United.
Can I say something, though, in respect to Bruno Fernandes? He's going to be even better. He's going to be unbelievable in this. So even seen in flashes yesterday in where he was picking the ball up from and the options he had. I'm telling you, it's once he gets the right players, Kels, I think we're going to see something. And he's just so cool. There's a natural mystic going through the year with him.
I haven't been this excited
got the Bob Marley vibe
about Manchester United manager since probably Sir Alex Ferguson left. It's a feeling that Man United fans, I think, have. And I think, he even said, I'm not happy because we didn't win. I don't want to hear managers say, you don't have to, slate the team or anything, but just say it wasn't good enough and we'd be better the next game. Don't say, like Eric Ten Hag will come out and say, I thought we played well today, when you just got battered by Liverpool.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's standards at Manchester United, at every club, and there's non-negotiables. Work rate, that was missing. Van Nistelrooy brought that back, and even did it in his match day programme. He was talking about these things.
Second lowest running stats for Man United yesterday, all season. So the work rate might not be where Amorim wants it to be. I know you can't...
It will be, though.
There's running
He
in
won't
and
have
there's
it.
running with purpose, isn't there? But
it's only days he's been with them as well.
I know. It's one game. And
He won't have it, though, Kel.
No.
That's the difference. I feel like he has standards that the players, if you don't, get to where he needs, they won't be there.
But the other interesting thing that and he was very interesting afterwards. He was very sort of thoughtful and considered in what he said. But the other thing was how much the players were thinking. So when I looked at them on the pitch, he said there were times when they were hesitating because they go, where do I need to be? Where does he want me to go? And they were sort of processing that information.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine, Kels? Once because they've not trained a lot with how he wants to do it. When they continue to train, because they're thinking about what he wants to do now. I saw Casemiro, when people weren't passing it forward quick enough, he was kind of shouting at them. Once they get it, and it's not thinking, once it happens naturally, that's when Man United are going to be a real force. It's going to be a real problem.
Sport, as shows all the time, different sports, players who lose their confidence, lose their way. They never lose the ability, they just lose the confidence in the ability. And I think that's what's happened at Manchester United. I think there are precedents for... And I'm always a fan of when a manager comes in and improves the squad that's already there, as opposed to bringing in quality. We saw that with Unai Emery at Aston Villa when he took over from Steven Gerrard in the Premier League. And he got them to believe in themselves and he got them to do the simple things well. And we've seen that Jurgen Klopp when he went to Liverpool, where he took them from a disillusioned side into being a superpower. Actually, we saw that with Brendan Rodgers, who challenged for the title with Liverpool, took them from 9th place to the brink of the title. So I think that's not going to happen with this group of players, but I do think he's going to get them believing in themselves again, because they look as though they've lost that. And I know he said to you, Kelly, didn't he, that they were thinking too much about some of the things that used to come naturally. And that's why I'm so excited. In the back of the net, though, Darren. Oh, they need a lot. There are a lot that they need, but they won't be able to do any of that until they start believing in their game.
And the way they're going to build up.
And the way they're going to build.
And also, he talked about Mason Mount being a really crucial player, and he obviously wasn't fit enough to start the game, but did make a sort of appearance with, I don't know, 5 minutes to go or so yesterday. But he'll be a player who works in that front three, which he did really well when he was at Chelsea as well. But in terms of it clicking, we saw those games. There's a couple of European games where you think, well, they should be fine there. But they're Premier League fixtures and not straightforward for Manchester United. So they're going to have to learn on the job. They're going to have to learn what their roles are. They're going to have to learn what Amorim wants from them. And they're going to have to do it in really tough situations where they don't have a minute to think on the pitch.
No, but I think the problem at Manchester United as well is the quality of the individual players. Like I said, there's certain things that all professional footballers can do. Pass, you can track back, you can defend. The basics of football, and I think that's been missing at Manchester United. A lot of the players have struggled to do the fundamental basics of playing. Now, the fixtures don't bode well, but what I will say, no pun intended on that first one, but, I think Manchester United fans want to see, it maybe you have to lose some games in order to show that what you can do, to improve. I don't know how to explain it.
No,
Manchester United fans will be patient. They will be patient.
That goes back to what I was saying about, for example, with Arsenal, where I remember when Arteta came in, they were all over the place, and he got them believing in themselves. And the ones who couldn't do it, he systematically moved them out and brought in players that could. I think you're right. There is a short space of time for him to do what he wants, but actually, I prefer him to get them to learn on the job, as opposed to, let's rip this season up and let's wait until next season. You're Manchester United, you don't have the time to do that.
The thing is that I think that because Man United were 14th in that when it was all happening, he's coming in, I think these, he gives me the impression and the air of somebody that's been, you've got time, just do your stuff. Play that's his formation, he said when he took the job. That's how I know how to play and that's how we're going to play. I believe once he gets his players in and they start getting it, I think it is a free hit against these teams for the rest of this season, because Man United were in 14th. Yeah. So whatever he gets from the end of this season is only going to stand him in good stead for the summer, because if it does finish well for him, they're going to probably give him whatever he wants.
And in some respect,
so you're saying that anything higher than 14th is a good finish for Manchester United? Top half or what? This season.
This season, I think if Man United can blast themselves up into 6 and all that, it's perfect for what they're doing with a new manager.
So 6?
Depending on who they're... I'd probably
at
give
this moment in time.
6 easily.
What I will say, though, with Ruben, I think you can see he was processing after the game, you can see he's a thinker, and he's probably thinking, OK, now I know what I need to do. Because I think he's obviously only had a couple of days with the players, but you can kind of see it was almost like an experiment for him, because we know football now has become a little bit more tactically astute. You know, players have to be told to go here, go there, whereas sometimes the players need to take responsibility themselves. But I think Ruben Amorim, I also don't think he realised the magnitude of this job. Because he mentioned it to you, Kel, didn't he? Like, I've done more interviews in this week than I ever did at 4 years at Sporting. That is what it means to be the Man United manager.
And he still looks very cool and very calm. And
that will settle a little bit for him.
I
don't think it will, though.
Especially if he has to keep doing it with Ed Sheeran.
Will be intense. And Ed Sheeran was at the great game yesterday.
If he dyes his beard
in
or not.
to join it. Ed Sheeran's apologised as well for kind of barging in on Ruben Amorim's interview.
Well, the thing about it is that, you know, Ed's amazing in that, but you can imagine Ruben Amorim must think, what's going on? You know, his first game for United and that happens, but you know something.
He stands pitch side and one of the biggest pop stars on the planet comes in.
You could see that.
Right, Ruben?
He was fuming. And I love that.
And he's a serious man.
Welcome to Manchester United. Welcome to the Premier League.
I love that about him. I love that about him. He's serious business.
Yeah, he is. And he was very serious. And he does have a big job on his hands at Manchester United. But those media commitments that he talked about, they will ease up. He's the new kid on the block, isn't he? And that's, to be honest,
he's at Man United.
We've not really talked about Ipswich, which feels unfair because it was a good performance from them, and they're doing really good things and interesting things under Kieran McKenna. But this is welcome to Manchester United.
It is. I mean, listen, when you're Manchester United, I remember when I go into the Asia Trophy, Premier League Asia Trophy, I think it was 2016-17, with Liverpool. And Jurgen Klopp agreed to do an interview with 4 or 5 of us tabloid journalists who'd come with. And the press officer said, look, can you make it quick? He's got another 55 interviews that he's got to do.
Right.
That's Liverpool, right? Manchester United, it's even more. It's even more intense. And you've got to balance that with restoring them to where they were. So it's going to be difficult for him. But I think, you know, he's 39 years old, he's energetic, he's energised, and I think he's got the capacity to be able to do that. I think he'll pick and choose what he does, but those demands, everybody wants to know about Man United, and I think he's made them box office again.
I just did feel for him when he said, I just want to go and work with my players. Well, good luck with that.
This coming midweek, they're in the Europa League before they play Everton. Robbie, what will he have learnt?
That he's a football coach with a tactics board, not a magic wand. It doesn't just happen. It's not going to just happen, Rebecca. We saw signs of structure. Execution wasn't great. That's going to get better. Personnel will change. That's going to get better. Only one shot on target in the second half will be a bit of a worry, despite having decent possession and being on top of the game in the second half for the most part. Still plenty of work to do. I thought today there was a number of players who were thinking about things, not playing naturally. Garnacho's a perfect example. There was 2 or 3 times Garnacho could have played a ball, and it was like there were thoughts going on in his head. We've got to get the balance between thinking about playing and naturally playing. Bright spot, I would say, Ahmad on the right-hand side, Rebecca. Wing-back. We weren't sure about him. He's a winger. Could he play in that role? Defensively was good, made the goal and was a threat on the right-hand side. So things for the coach to take, but obviously a lot of work still to do.
Obviously, he made some changes during the game. Casemiro, Eriksen off. How did that change improve them? Do you think it did? Do we think that will be something we'll see moving forward?
Yeah, I still don't think that Casemiro and Eriksen are going to be his first choice. You know, even though Luke Shaw looked lively, it's good to see him kind of back out there, fit, healthy, confident. Don't disagree at all with the Ahmed part. I mean, if he can find little nuggets, I even think Rashford getting on the score sheet is massive. He's always going to be the talking point with this United team. Those little nuggets of confidence are so crucial.
Well, the away fans seemed happy at the end, didn't they? We will wait to hear from Ruben Amorim giving his first post-match press interview.
So, Mark, United playing for the first time under Amorim. Were there any noticeable differences in the way they set up?
Yeah, lots of interesting tweaks and changes. Obviously, only a matter of days into the new era at Old Trafford, so you'd expect it to be fairly similar, but with a couple of new things. It was actually, for Manchester United, the first time they've had over 600 passes in a game this season. So ball possession, clearly something that Amorim wants to impose upon the side. Let's take a look at the way they set up, because it was a very different formation. They lined up with 3 at the back. You can see Diego Dalot and Amad Diallo as wing-backs there. And I think the other significant change is when you look at this, the front 3, Marcus Rashford, who you normally see out on the left-hand side cutting in field, he was playing as the number 9. You got Garnacho, who'd normally play on the right, on the left, and then Bruno Fernandes playing in that 2 behind Marcus Rashford as well. So a very different role. But that's essentially what Amorim wants from his side. He loves 3 at the back with the wing-back, so they've got that solidity when they're defending, but the opportunity to get it out wide when they go forward. So, yeah, that was quite an interesting change, which we knew we were going to see for Manchester United. When you compare that to United's previous game against Leicester, where they lined up in a 4-2-3-1 formation, you can see the changes. Like we say, Rashford out on the right, Diallo playing as an inside forward or a high winger compared to playing as a wing back. Obviously, the back 4 as well, very different. And then obviously the 2 pivots in the middle of the park there. So, yeah, that's the difference between Manchester United against Ipswich and then United against Leicester. Obviously, there are small differences with regards to players as well. We mentioned Bruno Fernandes, who's been such an important part of Manchester United over the last few years, hasn't he? Playing in a different role. And Garnacho playing in a different role. Let's take a look at the heat maps. And this gives you an indication as to perhaps where things may be tweaked and changed. Now, this is the heat map against Ipswich. You can see on the right-hand side where you are stood, Garnacho. He comes out wide. He's playing in a 2 behind Marcus Rashford, but he still wants to operate down that left-hand flank. So you're not seeing a great deal of difference in terms of his heat map in the game. However, I think this is really significantly different. Look at Bruno Fernandes. You'd normally see him operating in these areas, advanced attacking midfield areas. However, defensive responsibility, clearly something that Ruben Amorim wants Bruno Fernandes to look at. You know, and he spoke about it in the press conference after the game. He's got that ability to see passes, play forward, be progressive with the way he takes Manchester United up the pitch. If he's receiving the ball in these areas, he can't do that. However, when he's getting the ball in his own half, he's got a whole pitch to look at and try and make things happen for Manchester United because he does have that passing range. But interesting to see a very different heat map for that man, Bruno Fernandes. So it'll be interesting to see how the new Manchester United boss makes these tweaks and changes, how he tries to adapt and create a Manchester United that are not only going to take on teams, win games, and be more like the United we've seen in the past, but obviously some of the post-match comments have probably suggested it's going to take a little bit longer than Manchester United fans would expect. So it'll be interesting to see how these tweaks and changes develop game upon game. So a very different looking...
When Amorim took the reins at Old Trafford, he brought with him a vision of attacking football and youth development. But on a stormy night at Portman Road, against an energised Ipswich side led by ex-United coach Kieran McKenna, that vision seemed a distant dream. The damage is deep, and only a complete rebuild will suffice. Jamie Redknapp summed it up perfectly. United's fast start faded into a passive, slow performance. An expected goals XG of 0.9 and one of the lowest distance covered stats of the weekend told the story. We need to simplify things and work harder on the fundamentals. The players must understand my requirements better. Voiceover wise words, but Amorim isn't entirely to blame. A disjointed squad, a disrupted international week, and a lack of time with his players all played a part. While Ipswich Sam Morsy and Omari Hutchinson looked dynamic, United's midfield pairing of Casemiro and Eriksen, with a combined age of 64, struggled. The 3 at the back setup lacked balance, especially with Diallo in an unnatural left wing-back role. Amad Diallo, United's standout performer, shone despite being out of position as a wing-back. His creativity in attack proved what he can offer further up the pitch. So, what's next for Amorim? He knows risk is key to progress, and Thursday's Europa League clash against Bodø Glimt could be the perfect opportunity to roll the dice. Here's a potential lineup. Amorim could deploy Ugarte and Manutd in midfield to bring energy and creativity, with Diallo and Malaysia in their natural wing-back roles. Mount, who Amorim admires, could replace a tired Bruno Fernandes as the number 10, while Amad takes his rightful place in the attack. And why not give young talents like Chido Obermartin a chance? The Danish wonderkid has been on fire for the U18s, and with his 17th birthday around the corner, it could be the perfect moment to introduce him to the first team. After all, wasn't it a similar gamble that launched Marcus Rashford's career a decade ago? Amorim's second game as United boss could set the tone for his tenure. Will he take the bold steps needed to rebuild this team, or will the shadow of Ten Hag's project loom too large? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth football analysis. This is Football Insights. See you next time. Man United identify 3 transfer targets to solve Ruben Amorim's left wing-back dilemma. Manchester United are setting their sights on potential reinforcements for a problem area in Ruben Amorim's preferred 3-4-3 system, the left wing-back position. However, with the club reportedly operating under a limited transfer budget this winter, any significant moves might have to wait until the summer. Here's a look at the situation and the 3 key players on United's radar. The left wing-back problem. Even before Ruben Amorim's arrival, Manchester United identified the left wing-back position as an area needing attention. Persistent fitness struggles for Luke Shaw and Tyrell Malacia have left the team exposed. Luke Shaw still sidelined this season after a long summer with England at Euro 2024. Tyrell Malacia recently began his recovery, completing the first half of an EFL Trophy match for the youth team. Though summer signing Nasser Mazraoui has been a reliable stopgap, he isn't a natural fit for the left wing-back role. United are now exploring players who can adapt seamlessly to Amorim's attacking system. Target 1 Alphonso Davies. Bayern Munich. One of the most exciting names linked with United is Bayern Munich's Alphonso Davies. Contract situation. Davies' contract expires next June, and negotiations over an extension have stalled. The Canadian international is reportedly seeking a fresh challenge. Competition. Real Madrid are front-runners for his signature, with the player said to favour a move to Spain. For United, convincing Davies and his agent, Needle Jose, will be a challenge. Despite the hurdles, signing Davies would provide United with a world-class option tailor-made for Amorim's system. Target 2 Ivaro Carreras. Benfica. A familiar name for United fans, Ivaro Carreras has impressed at Benfica since making his loan permanent this summer for £7.5 million. Buyback clause. United hold a buyback option for around £16.7 million, making this an affordable option if Amorim gives his approval. Potential. The 21-year-old has grown into a dynamic wingback, but any deal would hinge on whether his playing style aligns with Amorim's tactical demands. Carreras' prior connection with United and his development in Portugal make him an intriguing prospect. Target 3 Milos Kerkez. Bournemouth. The third option is Bournemouth rising star Milos Kerkez, who recently caught the spotlight with 2 assists in a 2-1 win over Manchester City. Background. The 21-year-old Hungary international joined Bournemouth in 2023 and has since drawn interest from Liverpool and Chelsea. Challenges. Kerkez is tied to a long-term contract, and Bournemouth have no pressure to sell. Additionally, competition from other Premier League clubs could inflate his transfer value. United scouted Kerkez even before Amorim's arrival, and his performances make him a strong candidate for the role. The financial hurdle. Despite the strong interest, Manchester United's transfer budget could be a significant obstacle. Following heavy spending under Erik ten Hag, funds are reportedly tight. This financial reality likely means United will delay any left wing-back signing until the summer. For now, the club must rely on their current options while planning for long-term solutions. Conclusion. Ruben Amorim has a clear vision for Manchester United, and addressing the left wing-back position is crucial for implementing his 3-4-3 system. Alphonso Davies, Ivaro Carreras, and Milos Kerkez are all viable candidates, but financial constraints might postpone any moves until the end of the season. As Amorim looks to shape his squad, these transfer targets signal the club's intent to adapt and rebuild for future success. Let us know in the comments who you think would be the best fit for United.